Yo, what's good, guys? All right, man, we back with this video. So people asking me what all do they need to LS swap a box Chevy. All right, let me just explain to y'all real quick, man. So y'all just get a pen and paper real quick. Y'all got to just rewind the video and start over. So I'm gonna talk probably a little fast, but we're gonna kind of lead y'all in the right direction. This is how I do it. All right, so first thing first, you want to get your, just say for instance, it would depend what type of motor. I'm just gonna say 5.3 with the 4L60. So get you a 5.3 4L60. I normally do the return style. So I got the fuel line with the two prongs on it. You got your feed and return. So just say if you get that, you're gonna get you a harness, and you get your harness. Make sure your thought about is a drive-by cable, the one that you can open a flap up. So you would want to make sure it's a little more simple. That way you don't have to change a pedal. So get you a harness that's a drive-by cable. Whatever injectors you have, make sure you get the harness with the injectors. If not, you have to get the adapters for the harness to fit the injector. So just say if you get the right harness, but then you got EV6 injectors, then the harness might come with Motec. So you need to get Motec adapts to EV6 injectors, or vice versa, or EV1s, or whatever the case may be. So you will need to know your motor before you order the harness. Also, after the harness ordered, your adapters and stuff ordered, your computer, you're gonna have to get your computer flash. If you're doing a basic tune, if you just want your computer flash, if you got a stock truck engine or whatever, you're not trying to put a cam and all that stuff, you just need a flash. So the computer gonna be the one with the red and blue hookup. So make sure when you get your harness, you get the red and blue hookup that fits the drive-by cable harness. So after you get the computer flash, after you get your harness, you're gonna get your motor mount plates. Your motor mount plates goes on the side. Now, just overlook this, but you're gonna have, you normally get the chrome ones, and they got all the holes in them. They're like $30 some or stuff on eBay. So you're gonna get your LS swap motor mounts, and you're gonna see them, LS swap motor mounts plates, like $30. You're gonna get those. After you get those, you got your 4L60 trans and stuff, all that stuff hooked up, you're good. Your motor might come with a starter, so you know you're gonna need a starter. You know you're gonna need the plugs. You know you're gonna need the wires. Now on the wires, if you do the headers, they got some L-shaped wires that you can use. I think they're called Taylor wires or Taylor cables or something like that. But anyway, you can do like a 5.3 LS swap L-shape or 45-degree or 90-degree angle wires. That way it don't touch the header. That way it don't be long. It'll be more like it'll be away from the header. So make sure you get that on your wires. So like I said, the plugs, you're gonna also need to get the plugs anyway. Okay, if you got your water pump and stuff installed, I suggest you to go on and change it out. But if you want to keep the water pump, you trust it, then just keep all that stuff. Make sure you got your belt, keep all that stuff. So just say once you get the motor, you're gonna hook up your motor mount plates, and the same size the clamshells come off your old motor. I always put them back on the same side. I don't flip them. I don't do anything. The same way you take this motor, the old motor up, put them clamshells on your 5.3, and you set it back down. So once you get that down, you make sure you bolt your hose up. Once you get that up under there, you're gonna make sure your cross member and all that stuff hooked up. Of course, you probably gonna have to fabricate some stuff to make it work. But we're just talking about what to do. So just say once you get everything bolted in, then it will come down to your intake, and then your your throttle cable. Now, what I used to do sometimes before I put the motor in, I do the intake. Sometimes I do that first, or vice versa. But anyway, as long as you can get to that firewall for your throttle cable, you're good. So once you do that, you change the throttle cable out. You can go online, eBay, type in LS swap throttle cable. you know, to whatever engine you running. Some people get them out of trucks. That's cool. So once you do that, you set your intake on, you bolt your intake down. Now you got your fuel rails, you put everything together. You're gonna have a return hose and you're gonna have a feed hose. You don't have to use your old factory line unless you want to. You can just save money by cutting it like right there before the transmission meets the motor, slice it and put it into your feed line and just run a return line. Or what I do, I don't even mess with that. I just get a whole new feed line and gas line. I get like 14 feet to be on the safe side of both. 5/16 return, 3/8 feed. And I will run it all the way down on the side of the motor. on the side of the frame, run it down to your tank. Now when you come down to your tank, box Chevys, you're gonna get off of 89 Chevy Caprice sending unit. I repeat, an 89 Chevy Caprice sending unit. It comes with the sending unit and it comes with a little bracket that you can put the Walbro fuel pump on. Speaking of fuel pump, you're gonna get a 255 Walbro. All right, 255 Walbro fuel pump, which is gonna pushes out 58 to 60 psi for your motor. That's what you need, 50 to 60 psi, 58 to 60 psi. So 255 Walbro fuel pump, 89 Chevy Caprice sending unit. So once you bolt the stuff up, the fuel pump harness and the sending unit harness, they're gonna have two different outlets to plug into the fuel pump. So cut the sending unit harness off and attach the fuel pump harness on the sending unit, and you can splice those in. That way it can fit into the pump. And then you're gonna put your pump in, make sure everything's straight, put it in your tank. After that, you make sure you bolt it down, you make sure you clean it, make sure you use your rubber gaskets and stuff, make sure you lock it back in. Once you lift it back up, then you use your feed line, you plug in your feed line, you plug in your vent line, you plug in your return line. And after that, everything now ran into the motor. So you will need a mass flow sensor. So I usually use a 5-pin mass flow sensor. So make sure your harness got the 5-pin mass flow sensor. So once you get that, hook everything in. Now you can do it two ways. You can get the electric fans, or you can get the fans with the clutch on. So I usually do the fan with the clutch on. So of course I would get my fan, put my fan on, tighten it up. I would use the same radiator for the factory box Chevy. You can use the same radiator. It's not gonna hurt. You can't get on Tahoe radiator. It's gonna be too long. Get your factory radiator, set your radiator down. You're gonna hook your upper hose to this, and you're gonna hook your lower hose to this. When you come down to the hoses, you get the Tahoe hose, and you get your Tahoe or whatever the motor came out. Don't use the box Chevy lower hose. Don't use the box Chevy upper hose. It's not gonna work. You need that box Chevy. You need that 5.3 hose setup that's away from the fan and it's down below and it curves to your motor. To your radiator. So after that, your power steering should hook up the same. Just hook your lines up the same as what you took it off, how you took it off of your old motor, and just hook all that stuff back up. Once you do that, you can buy you some headers or you can use your manifolds. But I usually get the C10 headers that'll fit. I usually get C10 short tube headers. After you install your plugs, you put your headers on, and the only thing about it, you're gonna have a rod that's right here, that shift cable. Your shift rod. Only thing you have to do, you're gonna have to bend that rod a little bit, because when you try to put it in drive or park, it's gonna be hard to put it in drive. So definitely do that. After that, guys, you basically it, man. You got hooking your harness, your harness and stuff up. You get your computer flash and run your harness and hook everything up. You're gonna have your cam sensor. You're gonna have your crank sensor by your starter. You're gonna have your, on top of the intake, you're gonna have your map sensor. You're gonna have your knock sensor hook up. Make sure you don't cover this up with the intake. Some people be covering it up like I did, and I couldn't find it, and I had to take it back off. So you're gonna have that. Make sure you put your intake. Make sure you put your steam port hoses in, and make sure you run your other steam port, because your thought about it gonna have another steam port hose. You're gonna run it to your top of your radiator, to that little small one. After that, you're going to, like I said, hook up your harness, make sure everything plug in. You're gonna run your sensor, your color intake this way. You can run it that way. You can run it under. You can do all that. It just depends. You only can run it under if you don't have your fan. But when you got your fan on right here, you have to run your cold air intake this way. You can't run it this way because your alternator, and you're gonna have your fan right here. And then, like I said, it's gonna come out. It's gonna hit your fan, and then you're not gonna have room. So you're gonna have to run it back this way to where it's not in your alternator way. So yeah, after that, you hook your battery. For your battery, you're gonna do your positive, of course, to your starter. Make sure you got your positive, your key switch, and all that stuff. Label that stuff. When you take it off your old motor, label it. Label that stuff so you'll know exactly where it goes. Now your grounds. This is how I do my grounds. I would put a ground here to the battery. I would do my ground here to the battery. In the back of the block, I would do my ground on the back of the block to the frame. And then I will put another ground from here sometimes to here, just to make sure you got ground, or you can hide it wherever you want to do. After that, guys, you're going to get in the car. Make sure everything bolted up, your drive shaft and stuff like that. You might have to get it short. You might have to get it cut. You might have to get it extended. You might have to change it. So however your drive shaft still work, that's what you would have to do. So once you get all that stuff bolted in, make sure you check your fluids and stuff before you crank it. And of course, last not least, once you get in there, you turn it forward a couple times. Sorry about that, my phone cut off. So you're gonna get in the car. Before you crank it, put your pressure gauge on. Make sure your pressure gauge read the 50 to 60 PSI like it's supposed to. And once you do that, like I said, you get in there, you go on crank it. Last not least, don't forget your O2 sensors at the bottom of your header. It's not gonna come with your header, you have to order it separate. So whatever harness you have, the reason I order it last or after, I get the harness first. Sometimes you can read some, you can overlook it. Sometimes you can read too fast. Sometimes it might not show the O2 sensor with hookup. So don't order them before, order after the harness. So when you get the harness, hook them up, then you'll know which type of O2 sensor you need. And like I said, the headers, short tube, that's what I use. You can do whatever type of headers you want, but it's gonna automatically screw up in, but you just wanna make sure your harness plug in. So man, after that, alternator and stuff, man, you good. What I do too when I'm leaving it running, even though it'll be loud, I will unplug the positive and make sure my alternator's still charging up. That'll let you know if your alternator is right, if it's getting charged or whatever. If not, you need to go back and see why your alternator's not getting charged. But other than that, that's it. It sounds like a lot. Y'all might have to go back and rewind. I talk a little fast, but after that, guys, it's gonna be gravy. I promise you. So some people leave the stock pan on. All the cars I've done the swaps, I always left my stock pan on, or you can change the pan. But I leave my stock pans on, so you can do all that now. Yes, sir, man. That's it. You put your fluid, your power steering fluid, you do all your stuff, put your coils on, you make sure you hook your coils up. Of course, some of that stuff common sense. You put your coils in the right spot, your wires, and you can't go wrong, guys. Just make sure you got ground, make sure you got connection when you turn the key on. Your fuel pump. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Last not least, before all of this, because I think I done skipped some stuff. So when you come down to your fuel pump wiring, your fuel pump sending unit gonna come with a green, black, and a gray. The gray gonna be, you run a wire all the way under your frame for your power. That gray is your power. Turn your fuel pump on. Now your black, you can hook that to the frame or whatever. I usually hook it up to where my sending unit came out of, and my ground is attached to it. I just attach my ground, and then the purple gonna be your S wire, your sending unit, which is gonna operate your fuse. So you're gonna hook that up, you're gonna run it, and on your harness, you're gonna have 2 relays. One relay, you're gonna have that got power. The other relay you have that don't have power. Matter of fact, let me take y'all over here and show y'all something, because I don't want to get ahead of myself. This relay got power. This relay don't have power. This relay is your fuel pump relay. It's gonna have I think it's gonna have a green and a black. A green and a black. And what you're gonna do, leave that green, leave the black alone. But you, on the opposite side of the same fuel, same relay, you know it's gonna have like 5 pins or 4 pins. But you're gonna have 2 slots that's empty. One of them gonna say 87, one of them gonna say 30. 87 is always the fuel pump. So that wire I was telling y'all, for your fuel pump, the gray, you're gonna run that wire, extend it all the way, and hook up your clamp and stick it up in there on your 87. Now for your 30, you're gonna have this, the one that got power. You're gonna have 2 red wires. Get you a test light, and one of the red wires, what you're gonna do is you're gonna leave the key off. You're gonna touch one of the red wires. If this one light up, and you're gonna touch the other one. If the other one don't light up, then don't hook it to the one that don't light up. Hook it to the one that's constantly on. 2 red wires, one of them gonna be constant, one of them not. Hook the fuel pump, get a little wire, attach the constant wire, jump your wire to 30. So therefore, both relays are on. And what they're gonna do when you turn your key forward, it's gonna click on and click off. Now you're gonna hear your fuel pump. That's how you LS swap a box Chevy. That's all you need to LS swap a box Chevy, guys. So, like I said, I hope I ain't leaving nothing out. If I did, comment below. And yes, sir. Thank y'all for watching. Let me know if y'all need any more videos, and I got you.